Hello again, loved ones. This is Mad Stevens, and I hope you're doing super fantastic. I certainly am, and I wanted to talk. I've been reading some stories, okay? And I mean, these are stories that I've been aware of over, I guess, the years, I suppose. And I just wanted to share some of them with you because they are very intriguing. Let's say they're intriguing. They're very intriguing, and they are stories about that would suggest that this is a virtual, artificial construct. Okay, but as I've said before, anything that's possible, anything that could possibly happen, will happen somewhere. Right? It doesn't necessarily mean that it must happen in this construct, this particular construct, this world that we're in. Maybe just like a one little pod amongst a vast plane of constructs. And you can look at some of the, I guess, astral explorers, out of body explorers, such as Darius J. Wright. However you feel about him, I'm not sure. His description of the of that state is very it's very intriguing, very much so. So there's that. And if what he says is accurate, well, then there would be various pods, and then you would have be able to have, as a lot of people refer to, nested realities or nested constructs or nested simulations for that matter. And it would that's like the Russian dolls where you have a smaller doll inside the bigger one and then a bigger one and then a bigger, and they would be nested inside of each other. How it would just kind of go into infinity, I suppose. But that's not exactly true, because if we peel all the layers back, as I've said, eventually we would get back to the I am. We would eventually get back to the source, the universal consciousness, having the I am moment whenever it realized, had its awakening and had its realization that I exist, I am, and began creating in its infinite mind. But now, during all that creation, you could have sub creations, having sub creations, having sub creations. There could be, and I've said before, if it is possible for it to have to happen, then somewhere, I got to believe it must happen. That's just the nature of the universal consciousness exploring and discovering all that there is to explore and discover amongst its own mind, or within its own mind, I guess I should say. But these stories are of people who are currently in our realm, and they have had what you would call a dream, where they woke up in another place. And I realize it's like, well, yeah, duh, man. People have that kind of dream all the time. But these seem very real. And I also know that what I've said before about the dream state or the out of body state or in the astral or in this physical, depending upon which state, which realm you're in at the time, will determine whether or not or which state feels real. Because the state that you're currently in, whatever state that is at that time, will feel very real to you. But that also makes me think, well, maybe it is real. But it's just like with the UFO phenomenon, and I don't talk a lot about the UFO phenomenon. I think it's fascinating. I think it's very interesting. Do I believe in extraterrestrials? Not particularly. Ultra terrestrials, yes. And interdimensional, yeah, absolutely. I believe in those things. But now, extraterrestrials from Zeta Reticuli, not so much. I mean, I guess. I suppose. I mean, it's really. I mean, it's all right here anyway, right? I mean, it's all a matter of vibration. What your vibratory range is what range you're going to vibrate on is what you're going to perceive. So if you perceive the range that is Zeta Reticuli, then well, there you go. And if you're able to lower or raise your vibration to that of server Earth, well, then maybe that would be that too. There are so many possibilities. But I want to read some of these stories. For example, this one person described suddenly, suddenly pulling away from their body in a dreamlike state and opening their eyes to a screen. They were upright, naked, and with a medical tube in their nostrils, unable to move properly. They glanced around and saw other people in similar positions, along with a window showing darkness or space. Within seconds, someone said, "You're not supposed to see this," or "You're not supposed to be awake." And then suddenly this person woke up feeling dumbfounded, woke back up here feeling dumbfounded, like, what was that? That's pretty fascinating. That's a very fascinating story. And then this one is a person who dreamt, again, of waking in a white room with tubes all over them. 3 or 4 people in white lab clothes repeated, "He's not sinking," like syncing up, SYNC. "He's not sinking," before they woke up in this reality. So they saw these people and they were all kind of freaking out. "He's not sinking up. He's not sinking up." And then apparently he synced up and woke back up here. That's another one that's rather fascinating. Let me see. What was this other one here? This other one was there were several. And while I'm looking through here, dear loved one, if you would go ahead and hit that like button, that would be fantastic. And if you have not subscribed yet, please do so. But the thing about these stories is they always wake up in in an environment where they're in, say, some kind of pod or in a chair, but they're usually being monitored. And like in one of them, they woke and there were these like computer monitors around, and they couldn't quite make out what was on the monitors, but they heard someone say, "Turn those off. They shouldn't see those." And I think it's fascinating, some of this dialogue that they're hearing. Now, yes, they could maybe have some kind of implanted dream from when it comes to like the pods from the Matrix movies, yes. But some of them, as I've said, like with the UFO phenomenon, if one of these stories is real, then that's wow. That's wow, right? And it's like, does that mean that we live in a artificial construct? Does that mean, would that be definitive proof if we were to know that, yeah, at least one of these stories is accurate, one of these stories is real? Would that mean that this is an artificial construct? I think it probably would. But that doesn't mean that we are simply a program living in an algorithm or simulated world. What that would mean is that maybe we are also physical, and I do the physical in air quotes on purpose because ultimately I don't believe there is any physicality. But on the outside of this, we are physical. And maybe we have developed this program, this simulation, so that we can then come into here and through time dilation, meaning live entire lifetimes in the course of a day or whatever, and we can we can figure things out. Our mission of discovery, exploration and discovery. And that would be a very efficient way to do it. Plus, you wouldn't have to worry about cross-contaminating out in the outside. Just something to think about there. But as I've said before, there's no doubt that whether this reality is artificial or if it is a creation of the mind, ultimately it's all a creation of mind. Because if we were to peel the layers back and back and back, even if we were to find that this was artificial, we peel it back and we peel it back and we peel it, ultimately it would come back to that original I am source, universal consciousness, having that, doing the exploration. And here we are, living through you, living through me, through all these different layers of reality, some of which have sublayers. Others have other sublayers. It's a very tangled web. And but one of the things here's why I know it's intelligently designed. Whether it's intelligently designed in a computer, say a quantum computer, or if it's intelligently designed in mind. I got to believe that both do exist. I know that it exists in mind, but I also got to believe that it does exist in a computer simulation. Maybe not this one. It's beginning to appear as though it does. That's not important. Because here's how I know. Because there is no disorder to the universe. As I've said before, with the Fibonacci sequence, golden ratio 1.618, everything is in perfect symmetry. The human face, perfectly symmetrical. And it lines right up with the same sequence of the seeds on a sunflower, the spiral, or the nautilus shell. That's another really popular one. But I mean, it's everything from the microscopic to the galactic. Even the spiral arms of a hurricane, the spiral in a hurricane is based on the Fibonacci sequence, the golden ratio. Spiral arms of the galaxy, also based on the Fibonacci sequence. That's fascinating. But if it was all just one big cosmic explosion, just a big oopsie explosion, then it would be, as we know explosions to be, just chaos everywhere. But there is no chaos anywhere. It's perfectly symmetrical. Freakishly perfectly symmetrical. Another example that I've used that I say really kind of tells us that this is some kind of intelligently designed, programmable. Because, well, getting back to the Fibonacci sequence, the golden ratio, that is coding. That is a code. It's a sequence. That would show you the coding of the construction of this universe. Light speed would show you the computational speed of this universe. And the Planck length would show you what would be considered a pixel, the smallest unit of measurement in this universe. It's all code. Now, whether it's all in mind or if it is in some kind of computer, that is what we would like to figure out. It's fascinating. Does it matter? No, it really doesn't matter. We're still souls. We're still immortal souls, nonetheless. But have we plugged ourselves into this for exploration? For whatever reasons? That's one of the things I've suggested we do. We get back in touch with our higher self so that we get back on the mission of why we're here. What did we come here to do? But another one that I have used in the past is the Mandela effect. If this was a solid, immovable, physical universe, as the materialists, the atheistic, materialistic types would have us believe, then Mandela effects could not happen. Because it's physical, it's material, it's fixed. Once something happens, that's it. Mandela effects could not happen in that case. Some things for you to think about, dear loved ones. And I do have my live streaming stuff going. I was going to live stream Saturday night, September 13th. Life got in the way. But I would like for you, dear loved ones, to maybe in the comments, let me know when would be a good time to live stream. For me, I think Saturday nights, I'm in Eastern time zone. Saturday nights, say 10:30ish in the evening, go for an hour and a half. That would be great for me. But let me know what you think, dear loved ones. And yes, if you have not liked this video yet, please do so. If you have not subscribed to this channel yet, please do so. And yes, in the comments, for one, let me know what you think as far as times for live streaming. Or I do have a, the community notes on my YouTube page where I ask that you can comment on that there. If you would rather just comment on this video, what you think as far as the nesting, the nested realities, that kind of thing. So anyway, dear loved ones, yeah, that's what I got for you. I do love you. I do. And I'll be back directly.